Okay, so for today, we want to build this page. So we don't have for some reason icons, but we will fix it. It doesn't matter for us what kind of icons we want to have here, but we will try to build this stuff. I think that should be fun because of these shapes, and we can basically try to match these shapes. And yeah, that should be fun, definitely. So the another link that I want to share is to share the design with you. So here's the design. And let's actually, let me create a Git repository. So GitHub. So we can actually create, sorry, coughing for last months, have no clue why. Okay, so I will create some landing page. How do you want to call it? Similar ways, course, immersive experience and time. I don't know. Some landing page. Version 2. Let's call it like that. So that should be public. Create repository. And this is the URL to our Git. So you can use this link to get the code that we will write today. Okay, so let me just quickly. So we want to add basically the existing one, right? Because here we have ls-la. I'm removing the old repository because I had something here. Yeah, great. Git init. Come on, init. Yep. So I will create some README MD, and I will put a landing page, some title. Sorry. So design URL will be, let me just actually remove this one. So design URL will be the one that I've sent you. And yeah, this is pretty much it. This is all you need. So save, git add, git commit, sham, readme, and now all I need is copy this. Come on. Copy that and copy the last one just to save. Ooh. Okay, I think we're supposed to have our readme. Yeah, we have our readme. Beautiful. So we are actually ready now to start with our landing page. So, sorry, as you remember, as usual, all your assets can be extracted from the design in Figma by clicking on the, ooh, this is just an image. Oh my God, that's bad. Sorry, we definitely need to improve this layout, the design file, because we have just one image. I think that we exported from Sketch app, and that is why we have this issue. But yeah, we will find some images and we will try to just put stuff. We'll find some images in the internet. It doesn't matter. Okay, cool. So let's actually start. So what we need to have on the very beginning, just a typical few things, right? Index HTML, first up. Second, let's have CSS folder with index CSS, right? And I also want to have an image folder because we will put our images there. So yeah, no files, just image folder. Does anyone remember how to create a default layout for HTML? What is a shortcut in VS Code? Yeah, so exclamation mark. Hit enter, hit tab, sorry, and we have it. Beautiful. So we have landing page. Yeah. So let's put something, h1, hello, and open. We will see, sorry, just opened on my second screen, so I will paste it here. Yeah, we have our hello. Beautiful, awesome. Just amazing. So let's actually start with the layout. Sorry. Remember our wireframing thing that you want to split everything into boxes. You want to group the content. And let's do the same here. So I want, obviously, the first section is this one, right? So I'm pretty sure that we don't want to have fill, but we want to have stroke. And let's say color green. And I don't know, 3 pixels. Yeah, so this is our first container. In this container, we will have a few more things. I'm just thinking, yeah. First group, our navigation. Yep. And so let me again, stroke. Let me just change the color because this is a different level. So I will select, I don't know, something catchy. So let's say 3 pixels, right? And another one will be this section. Again, we don't need fill. It's a bit annoying because it's a manual work, but yeah. What can we do? What can we do? So second, right? And theoretically, we want to have this section as a third wrapper where we will put all our all our content, sorry. So let me do this because it's a different level again. I will select something like that and 3 pixels. Yeah, so this is the first section, right? Let's go to the next section. So next section is this. So you're selecting. Remember that I've told you that every time you start a project, you need to start from this wireframing thing because that will simplify your development. So you spend some time to to group everything, but you will save a lot of your time by because you're doing this stuff. Let me check. I just want to move. Yeah. Okay, so here I would say that we have 2 groups of elements. First, theoretically, because this is H1 or H2 or H3, and that's probably H5 or something. That means that they are block elements, so I don't need to create wrappers for them. So theoretically, I don't need to have wrappers for them because that will be just element by itself. So what I will do, I will create a list for these 3 icons, right? Because we have 3 similar things. So here we will have our greenish section, something like that. And inside this one, we will have one item here, right? And 3, and where's our pink? And remember that we always group images. So that means that I want to have a separate element for this image. So stroke, and let's select some color for that. Something like that. Yeah, so we created a second group. Let's go with the third one, and yeah, I leave the rest for you. So you can, by the way, you can clone this design to your Figma, and you can continue doing all of that stuff. So you can have your own version of this landing page, this design. Okay, so let's go here. Let's think. So first, again, I would say that we will have, sorry. First of all, we will have the container, and I actually think that we can group a few things. So we can put everything. So see that we have a background, right? That means that we want to have a content area as a separate thing, which will be slightly narrower. Let me just select green. So we have everything there. On the next level, we will have probably this section. So text, just text. And we will have, let me change the color to pink, so keep this, the order. And I will probably have the second section again, because I have to, now I'm changing the flow of elements from vertical to horizontal, right? That is why I need another wrapper for these two. So let me, this is pink, and we're selecting 3 pixels. And here I would say that I will create 2 groups. So the first group will be the left one, right? And what do we have? Blue. And 3. And here I will have the second group, the right one. Something like that. Any questions on this one? Any questions? No? So this is pretty much it. Again, you need to, at home, when you clone this one, when you clone to your Figma this file, you need to frame the rest and try to build the rest. If you have time, we might frame this one and do it together as well, but I think that we might not have enough time. But let's see. Great. Okay, so here the only thing that sorry, I can see that I missed is one item, right? So I forgot about this one. Let me just select pink, 3. This is it. Cool. Let's actually try to build now. The question is everything big enough for you so you can see it, or I need to zoom it a bit? Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if I need to adjust. Maybe zoom a bit. Okay. Like this. Yep. Perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's actually start doing some stuff. So let's start writing our HTML. right? So here we have the first main section, let's say. So we will use Emmet for everything. So I will create like main. Inside my main, I will have two groups, right? First is navigation. And there, it looks like I need to have some container to have same padding for all of them. I actually think that this one should be slightly narrower as well because it's too wide. We need to keep the grid. Let me try to show you what I mean by, oh, I don't have grid, I think here. Yeah, anyway. So that means that I will have some div with class container, right? Or maybe I'm just thinking, theoretically we can have just our UL. Yeah, let's start with UL. So we have our UL list, right? This is the thing. So we have navigation. Inside navigation, I already changed in the layout, which is not very nice. But let's add so you can see that we have it. Let me zoom a bit so I can actually something like that. And now I will change the color to something different. Yeah, something like that. So that will be our UL. So we have UL is a class, let's say now items. And inside I will have 5 allies, right? 5 allies. So let me add some text. Item $sign. Great. I think this is it for navigation. So the second section is div. Let's say content. And inside there, I want to have another div, which will be, maybe this one can be wrapper, right? And there I will have just div with class content. And there I will have h1 and h3 maybe. So I'm just guessing. You can use any. You can use h1, h2, h3. It doesn't matter. I'm just feeling that it might be h3. So I think this is the first section. Pretty simple. So we will have the image that we need to play with. So we will create a separate element for that, for this layout. So you will see how to create that kind of effect. And yeah, I think this is it. So we also need this huge 8, and we will do that as well. Okay. Sorry. So I think this is it. This is the first section. So hit tab. We have the basic layout, right? So we have the simpler way of saying yes. The simpler way of saying yes. And this one immersive experience at a time. So one immersive. Come on. Oh my gosh, what an immersive. Immersive experience at a time, right? Ooh. Okay. So we have home, product, user cases. So let's add some anchors, right? Because to navigate, we need to have anchors. So let's add anchors. So for now, I will put just hashes, but we will change it to actual IDs, and I'll show you how to navigate through the page. Yeah. So here, home, product, let's start with home, product. Next stop is user cases. cases. Pricing and join us. Beautiful. So pricing and join us. Something like that. Okay, so let's refresh. We have our layout. Perfect. Let's actually start styling the first section. Let me split to the right so we can see both. We at least need one image for the first section, right? Let's find some image in the internet. Pixabay, 3 images. Almost. I don't know. New York. Let's see what do we have. Any preferences? Any preferences? Let's have this one. Looks nice. So free download. That's more than enough. Kittens. Yeah, kittens my favorite. But too late. Too late. We almost... oh, sorry. We need to wait. Taxi. All of them from New York, right? And download. So let me just desktop lesson images. Let's call it city. Great. So now we have image there. Let's actually start designing. So first of all, the container, right? Remember, do you remember that first, before we start, we always want to add what to your project to reset all stylings for all browsers? What is the first thing? You might remember from previous lessons. Normalize. That's absolutely correct. Normalize. So let me just add our normalize to our project. So link. I'm pasting our normalize. And another link will point to our CSS index file, right? The next step that we want to apply to everything is box sizing. I hope that you remember what is that. Box sizing border box. And yeah, I think this is it. So now my generic class container where I want to set width 90% and max width. Let's have 1440 pixels and margin should be 0 auto. Sorry, something like that. So now all elements that have class container will be aligned a bit, right? So we will set a maximum limit. Beautiful. So now let's inspect what we have. Main, navigation. Oh, yeah, main. So main, we have navigation. Inside navigation, we have UL. And for UL, we actually want to have a limit. So for where we have our now items, I want to add another class container, right? So we can limit the widths. And now you can see that we actually adjusted a bit because now we have this container stylings. But I want to style actually my navigation items. So for that one, I want to remove list stylings, right? So list style none. I want to reset padding, not padding, to 0. So let's check. Beautiful. Looks right for me now. So the next step is to put all of these elements into one row. Do you remember what we did with Flexbox to make it, to put it everything in one row? No? Yes? So just basically to put everything in one row with Flexbox, all you need to say is the display flex. This is it. This is all you need. Yep. Thank you, Jasmine. Exactly. So now everything is in one row. Perfect. And to put it to the right side, all I need to do is just set justify content flex end, right? And let's refresh. Beautiful. It is here. Yep. So we have this max limit. You can see that if I'm expanding, we have the limit of the container, 1440. But if I shrink it, it starts shrinking. So perfect. I think this is what we want. Let's go back and check some. We want to have some padding and spacing right around each. So let's actually do that. So for each item, li item, I want to set some padding, and let's set 1m, just a random number. So I'm not sure how that will work, but yeah, I mean, good enough, I think, for now. And we want to change color. We want to change font weight. We want to probably import some font from Google Fonts, let's say. But for now, I just want to take a color picker and get the color so we can use it for the whole main section. So for main, background color should be this one, right? So let's check. Perfect. So we have the layout. We actually have some gradient, if you can see, because if you start getting the color from this side, it's slightly different. Slightly different. So to use gradient, you can have like, you can need to set background, then linear gradient, and then you want to set, basically specify colors. I'll show you. So let's see, let's actually Google for that, because I'm not doing that every day. Gradient. So I might be wrong with the syntax. Let's check that. So here you have an example. So yeah, basically you provide in a list of colors like I did, but you can also specify the direction, like this one, for example. And let's say 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Let's check what we have. Yeah, something similar we have in on our design, right? Sorry. Okay, so next up, that we want to have the full height. That means, do you remember the responsive value units, let's say, that you can cover the whole page? So you want to set height to what? VH. That's absolutely correct. So 100 VH, viewport height. So now we have the whole thing, right? We're covering the whole page, which is great. Now we can start actually styling our text. So let's do this. So I want to style our anchor elements. Remember always that if you have anchors in your HTML, that means that you can't use, like for li, for example, use color, I don't know, white, right? It will not apply to your anchors, because anchors needs to be specified separately. So if you have regular text and nested text, that's fine. But if you have anchors, I'll show you an example here. So I will put some text outside anchor. Outside. And if I put color to the whole list, right, it will inherit for a lie, but not our anchors. So remember that if you have an anchor, it doesn't inherit colors from parent. It just, you need to set your color to directly to anchor. So let me remove this, refresh, beautiful. Yep. Do you know how to remove this underline for anchors? Yes, exactly. Thank you, Jason. So that's correct. So text decoration to none. Text decoration to none. Right? And now we don't have these anchors, these text underlines. Let me check some, what do I want? What do I want to have? Let me think, Google Fonts. Fonts. Let's add some Roboto, probably Roboto. Some don't want to waste much time on that. So let me take this one, then regular, and probably bold. This is all we need. Maybe let's take black. So I'll just copy this one to our HTML. So we import in the fonts. And then I will apply that to every single element here, right? So Roboto as a main one, and if you don't have Roboto for any reason, it will fall back to sans serif. So close, refresh. Now we have this. Yep, looks okay. So we have the first, we have a navigation. Now we need to style these guys. We want to style the text. And it looks to me, it's kind of middle-ish if you see the vertical thing. So if you go here, we have in main, we have now, and we have div, right? Remember from previous, last time when we tried to build a page, I showed you how to fix this one. So I want to take the full, the remaining height and with this element. So we have content wrapper. So let me just do for content wrapper. I want to have main content wrapper, and here I want to say flex grow 1, right? So I want to grow, but because my main is not a flex element, I want to change it to flex. So display flex. So my flex grow will work. But do you remember the default orientation, default flow of elements for display flex? Row, exactly. So by default, it is row. And yes, you're right, Jason, that we need to change direction to column. So that means that I need to add flex direction column. So let's see. Beautiful. We are back to the correct layout, but now our div actually takes the full height, right? Which is what we want. On the next step, we want to have to make our content wrapper display flex as well, because now we want to align items to center. So align them vertically. Now it is aligned, right? Great. So for content wrapper, I would say that we want to have the same container class here. So we have these limits for, we have just limits basically for the whole layout. And now I want to move my text to the right. Yes. So again, for my wrapper, just justify content, flex end. Let's try. Beautiful. It is here. You can see that it's not actually aligned. Let me actually show you Chrome extensions. There is a ruler. This one, grid ruler. This is very helpful extension when you do your web design. So what it does, now let me just pin it. If I click, probably I need to refresh. Let me try, click. What's going on? Where's my, what is going on? My course is blocking, access font, oh yeah, font is fine. Why this one doesn't work? Maybe it, let me just close the page, open in a new, maybe it just Chrome doesn't like it. That's interesting. I don't want to close the whole browser because we will lose connections. Yeah, so this ruler is basically, it will show you ruler, and you can create align items, like move lines to see the alignment, and you can see that here we have different alignment. This is because this here we have padding, that is why it's not aligned. So for my allies, for the last ally, so last child, right, I just want to set padding right to 0 to align it. So now it is aligned. Perfect. We want to make our text bigger, but let's first change it to actually to the right color. So for main content H1, I want to set color to white. Refresh. Yes. And the second color is sorry, let me just inspect the color, copy this, and for H3 I will just copy this one, 3, I will change it to that color. So now if I refresh, we have the correct color, right? We definitely need to adjust font size because it's just too small. So theoretically, font size. By the way, I just want to remind you, if you don't know what I'm doing or have any question, feel free to ask straight away and I'll explain what I'm doing. Font size, let's say 3M. Let's check. Perfect. And here, font size probably can be 1.1, 1.5. So half of what we have there. Yeah, something like that. The only thing that here is expanding, right? So we want to set the max width for this section. So let's say for the content, we can actually set something like max width to, I don't know, 50 VW, so viewport width, right? So if you have big screen, it will fit. If it shrink, we will have multiple lines. I think that is fine. We can actually change it to maybe 30, I don't know, 40. Yeah, 40, let's do 40. So that means that for my content here, I will have max width 40 VW. Yeah, I think it looks fine. Great. So let's talk about this magic things, two things basically. First is 8, right? This transparent huge 8 behind. So I would say that we can have our 8 for the whole main section probably. So remember these pseudo elements that we can create like after and before. So I will use after pseudo element. So content, and in our case, our content will be 8, right? This is what we want to have. Color should be white. And we will do some transparency but let's forget for now. And I want to set, I'm just thinking, I want to rotate it and make it big. So let's start from font size. I don't know, that should be 80 viewport widths. My goodness, sorry. Let's see what we will have. Yeah, huge one, right? So to make a proper positioning, we need to change the position absolute. So that means that my main should have position non-static, which is at least relative. And here I want to have, I'm just thinking, let's have top 50% and right minus 20% and transform. So if I leave like that, I will have something like here, right? Which is wrong. So I want to set transform, translate minus 50% on, 0 on X coordinate and minus 50% on Y coordinate. Let's refresh. Yes, this is what we want, right? Now I just want to rotate. So for our transform, I want to rotate as a second parameter and do 45 degrees, right? 45 or 90. Yeah, definitely 90. Struggling with math, right? So, okay, so that is too, let's try, let's try minus 90. That actually matters in our case. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. That means that right can be 0. Even more probably. Can be 0, I think. Yeah, that's fine, right? Now we can add transparency. So opacity 0.3. So 30%. Yeah? We can make it even bigger. We can have 100 view widths, something like that. And maybe like minus 5%. Yeah, easy. I know you are excited. Okay, so we have our 8, right, with our pseudo element. Second trick with this one. Any ideas how to achieve it? So HTML and CSS is all about imagination, right? And creativity. Yeah, we can use before, but we actually need a separate element because we need a few elements here. I will, again, this is just like a imagination and creativity. And practice. Mostly practice. Yeah. Yeah, just practice. Forget about creativity. Just find the internet, memorize it, and basically do it. Yeah, so what I will do, I need to add my image. So let this class, I don't know, main background, something like that. And I will add my images, city. Was it GPG? Yeah. So city image, city, I didn't mind. Yeah, something like that. So now I want to take that and start playing with it. And you'll see how crazy that can be. So first of all, I want to set position absolute again, because that should be a part of our, woohoo, look at us. Perfect. Perfect sizing, right? So let's set some widths to 50 viewport widths. Refresh. better. Sorry. The next stop is, I'm just thinking, because we want to have a perfect square. To have this nice line, we want to have a perfect square. So theoretically, we can, what we can do, what can we do? We can use it as a div and don't use as a source, but set as a background, image, right? So I will do this, width, height, so we have perfect square, and I will do background image. I will do URL and something like images and city, right? So center. So I'm positioning vertically and horizontally, and background sizing I will set to cover. So let's check. Perfect. What went wrong? Let's see what went wrong. Ooh. Background image doesn't work because that should be just background, because I'm adding other settings. Refresh. Perfect square, right? So now the first thing, I want to make it circle, right? So I will set border radius to 50%. Refresh, we have circle. Now I want to have an internal circle here, right? So let's actually use pseudo element again. And let's use, it doesn't matter before or after, so let's use before. And I want to set, again, content. So for content, we have nothing, but you still need to define it. How do you mask your... Yeah, exactly. You will see that, so mask, you would mask work this. Yeah. I will show you in a second how to do that. This is what I'm doing basically now. So content, here display block, height will be 20, so 50% basically what we have here. So 25, and width will be the same thing, and the background color I want to have, let's say, the same stuff, same logic. So here, refresh, perfect, right? The positioning is wrong, but we will fix it. So now we're doing position absolute, right? And top 50%, left 50%. So now it is here, almost. Next stop is transform, translate, and you might guess, as I showed you on the previous lesson, -50 to put it back to the center. Yeah. Now all we are missing is just border radius. Radius to 50%. Looks okay. Might be big. We might need it to make it bigger. Let's do something like 40. No, too much. 30. Yeah, something like that. For me, it looks fine. So all we need to do now is, for the whole circle, I want to set top 0, left 0, and translate -50. Yeah. So we probably need to make it bigger, which is fine. Ooh, sorry. That means that we can do something like 100, and for this one we can have something like 70 and 70 potentially. Yeah, you can go crazy with that. We probably 100 is too much, but we can have something like 80. 80 and maybe 40. Let's check that. Yeah. Maybe slightly more for this one, 50 and 50. Yeah, something like that. Does it make sense? We might actually shrink. I still feel that the numbers are slightly, needs to be adjusted a bit. So let me just try 45. Something like that. What do you think? Any questions? Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty easy, right? So with pseudo elements, it is very easy to fake elements and with positioning, it's very easy to put elements where you need and where you want to see them. So yeah, this is very, very easy. It just requires some practice. So again, you don't have a lot of code, you have just a few lines, right? But if you know what you're doing, and you will, when you start playing with it, you will learn, you will be able to manipulate all these elements. So yeah, on the beginning of the day, we had just 2 squares, right? But now it looks different. So how would you get the image to show the sidewalk in the final design? Oh yeah, so that was just a different image, right? Here. It was just a different image. It's not the same image, sorry, Lester. Yeah. Sorry. But theoretically, if you want to see the different part of the image, you can do not center, center. You can do something like top left, for example. I don't know. So let's see. See, we have a different part of the city, because you're moving the image for the background. Top right. You have this part. So yeah, you're just playing with this stuff. Center, center. Yeah, something like that. Okay, cool. Next up. Next up is the second section, which should be very, very easy for us. So let's move to the second section, and the second section is product, right? Third user cases. Yeah, let's call it product. So we closing. This is what I'm normally doing. When I finish with one section, I'm just closing it here, so I know that I don't change anything accidentally. And here, I also strongly recommend you to have something like main section and have a commented out code, right? So we know that we finished with main. Same here, like that. So now next section is product, right? And here we will have the product. Okay, so next one is our product div with class product. What do we have here? We will probably have the container for this element as well, container. So we have 2 classes for this section. Then we have h2 plus h1, h3, sorry, right? Even maybe h4. And we will have a list of items. So work contacts, rental agreements. So here I will put something like products list, and inside I will have product with some $, multiply with class with class product. Maybe actually we don't need the class. Multiply 3, right? But inside I want to put actually a few things into my list item. So inside this, let me just resize my windows. I want to have, so this is my li, and inside I will have my image. So let's div image wrapper, and there I will have image, right? So my icon. Theoretically, again, I can use just background image, but when you use image tag, it's much easier to size it. Maybe not. Maybe we can just use just image wrapper. So image wrapper plus we will have some, I don't know, h6, h5, something like that, right? So we have container with 2 classes. There we will have h1 and h4, then list, and inside list we will have allies where we will have image wrappers and some text. Yep, I think this is it. So save, perfect. So move your agreements across the line. So let's move your agreement across the line. And the next one, approve, close, and sign the documents. Approve, close, and sign documents. Ooh. And sign the documents. You need to drive your business. You need to drive your business. Okay. So then we have work contracts, rental agreements. So let's do work contracts. Then we have rental agreements and sales contract. Perfect. Sales contract. Something like that. So let's refresh. And we have our section with the content. Perfect. Sorry. Okay. So now let's go to our product. First of all, you might notice that we have a huge padding, right? So let's do that. So I will set padding. So for top and bottom, let's say 4M and 0 left and right. Refresh. Yeah, now we have some padding. Perfect. Next stop is align everything. So text should be aligned to the center. So let's do that. For my H2 product, H2 and H4, I want to text align center. Right? So refresh, we have it. We definitely need to make the text bigger. I will set for my H2, I want to set font size, I don't know, to 4M as well. And font weight to black. Font weight, black. This is the boldest one. Refresh. Something like that. Yep. And this one, so we have the color for that as well. And I think this is the same that we use here or this one. Let's try both. Here, that will be color. Ooh, sorry. Let's try. Yeah, we have bluish color. Actually, we want to have the same color for both, so I will put it here, right? Because we can combine them into one selector. Yeah, so now we're selecting both. it's still too small. So for my H4, I want to set font size to something like 2M. Yeah, maybe 1.5 M. But the problem is that we have a huge margins. This is because there's default margins for elements. So I will set margin to my H2 to 0. Something like that. Now it looks better. Okay, so let's actually position these three elements. So here we have our products list. Products list. And again, list style none. Then we have padding 0. Then we have display flex, right? And justify content center. Let's see what we will have. Something like that. Perfect. We definitely need to do some stylings. So let's do that. So for each li, I want to have some margin. Probably not. Probably actually only for the second one, I will set. We actually have here. You can see that we are kind of spreading this stuff, or maybe we can just set margins between for the middle one. So to select the second one, I will use nth child selector and say second, and margin top and bottom 0, and left and right, let's say 3M. Let's check what we will have. I'm pretty sure I missed yeah, I definitely missed. So my selector is wrong. So let's check what is wrong with my selector. Yeah, right, li. Yeah, I missed my li selector. Refresh. Yeah, we have it. Perfect. So here, why do I have product? Oh yeah, right. Sorry, I forgot to remove product text from here. So for image wrapper, just for now, I will product list li and image wrapper. I will set height, so width 100%, right? So I'm inheriting, or is it 100%? It's not 100%. It's like more kind of like 60%. And height, again, we want to have a perfect square, right? So this is a trick, actually. You need to remember, because this is a CSS trick, to make a perfect square, responsive perfect square, you want to have something like padding bottom. And the same, 60%, because that will be based on the parent. And now if I set background color, that can be where's my bluish colors? So we will take this one, but we will do something very, very bright. Something very bright. So let's refresh. Perfect. We have different widths, right? So we have perfect squares, but different widths for each item. So I want to set widths to each li to some fixed value. So here I will set widths to, let's say, 250 pixels. So now we have 3 perfect squares. Is it? It looks perfect. What? Oh, I haven't saved this one. Refresh. Yeah, 3 perfect squares. So that means that here we potentially want to have a bit smaller, maybe 50. And I want to make border radius for my image, right? So border radius 50%. Sorry. Refresh. We have this. Yep. And same for text. So now for my H5, I want to align text align to the center. Text align center. Text align center. Why was it different initially? Sorry, what was different? I missed your message on when was it? Oh yeah, because we didn't have I see what you mean now. So if I remove this one, commented out. So because I have more text here, this section is wider, right, than this. That is why align elements were different and they had different widths. So we need to set some min widths or just widths to make them consistent. Perfect. Yeah. Great. Look at this. What have I done? What have I done? Let me just check. So what we have here? Oh, okay. Yeah. So we have div, which is not aligned. We have H5, which is aligned. So theoretically, to fix it, all we need to do is just display flex direction, column, align items, center. So you don't need to have this at all. Refresh, something like that. Still feel like this one and the last one is kind of unbalanced. Or is it just me? Let me just check. This one is center. And this one, yeah, it is. It looks like it should be balanced. But it is too big. So let me just set to 150. Maybe. Something like that. Maybe 180. It's always about playing with numbers, right? Okay, cool. It looks, I think it looks fine now. So we have 3 things in this section. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of grayish color. So it's not actually, you can just copy this color and replace it with this one. Refresh. Yeah, like that. Flexbox doing what, sorry? Lester, what do you mean by Flexbox doing that? No. It's not a Flexbox. It's because we have more text here. That is why it becomes wider. And if you have less text, it's just narrower, right? So that is why we need to set consistent widths for everyone. Even if you have more text, that will go to the next line, not just make wider element. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the trickiest part, I would say. Because we have quite a few elements here and that might be painful. I feel that will be painful. Okay, so let's actually do this next section. So next section we have user cases. Yeah, user cases. So great, I'm closing this one. Div user cases, and inside that we will have one section for the container, right? And inside that we will have 2 sections. So header and body, let's say div header. So I need to wrap it plus div body. Yep. And for my header, I will have probably h2 and h4. So h2 plus h4. And for my body, I will have image section and content text section. So let's say image img section, and plus I will have content section. Inside content section, I'm planning to have, I don't know, again, h3 and p probably. So h3 plus p. I think this is it again. Done with the layout. So one immersive experience at a time. One immersive experience at a time. Why it's this part always jump outside? That's odd. Okay, and user-friendly with enterprise grade security. So user-friendly with enterprise. What? Yeah, thank you. With enterprise security. Perfect. And here I will have some move your agreements across the line. So move your agreements across the line. And you can see that we have a different color for this text, right? So we need to somehow separate it. And that is why we use span tag, right? Because we can select it. And we have some random text. So let me just find some text. I don't know. Lorem ipsum. I will just copy some text. Some text for my p element. Ooh, for my p element, something like that. Cool. So let's go back, refresh. We have another section, right? So let's start styling it. So first of all, I need my bluish color for this section. So this one is user cases section. Perfect. User cases, and here I want to background color, to set the background color. You can do lorem. What do you mean by lorem? Sorry, Attic. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Really? Like lorem? No? Oh, okay. Lorem 100. Look at this. Thank you. I never tried that. I didn't know this stuff. Magic. Look at this. This is really cool. Perfect. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. This is very helpful. Okay, so background color. And we want to set our dark blue, right? Refresh. So the whole section now is dark blue. I would say that we want to set min height, just for now, just for fun, let's say. Min height should be 80 VH. So something like that, just to see that we have a section. Yep. So that means, again, now we have the same problem with my padding, right? So I will do the same with padding that we did for product. So here I will set padding. So we have the same padding here. And yeah, this one should be white. So let's start with this one. So user cases, header, and we have h2 here. So that will be color white. Yep. The text font size should be slightly different. And what kind of font size we had here? Theoretically, we can use the same here, right? As a section header. Yeah. The only difference is, yeah, that's fine. That should be fine. Okay. And the next section is user friendly, which should be just some H4, font size 2 probably, and font weight should be black as well. And the color should be the one that we had in main section. Where is the, hey, this one. Yep. Something like that. Let's try. Perfect. Again, we need to reset margin, right? To 0. Refresh. Still have margin because of that one. Okay, so margin top to 0. Fresh. Too close, too big, right? Let me actually have 1M and remove my reset. 1.5 M. Something like that. Okay, fair enough. And margin top, let's say we will have half M, so 0.1 M, because that will take 1.5 as a 1 M for this one, so half will be 0.75. Remember this crazy M's maths. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Cool. That's awesome. So we have this section. Now we want to move to the next one. So here, that will be fun. That will be really fun. Let's go to image section. So in image section, I want to add actually image section. And I'll add the same image because we don't mind for now, city. Sorry. And for body, that should be user cases, and that should be body. That should be display flex, right? And we want to specify some let me check. So we have a flex box here, and that's kind of, I don't know how, it's 60 to 40 maybe. So image section, and that should be image section will be, I don't know, width 60%, and that means that that should be 44. For content section. So let's see. Perfect. Looks fine. All we need to fix is our image, right? So for image, I will say width of the parent element should be like 70%. Yeah, something like that. I think that will be fine. Okay, so let's see what we have. We have header, which we don't care now, and we have body. So again, see, I want to take the spare space of the height. So let's do that. So for this one, I will set display flex and flex direction column, right? And for this one, for body, I will set flex grow 1 to grow. Refresh. And header body. Ooh. Why it's not grow? Oh, right. So container doesn't take the full height. So that means that I want to inherit for my container. Where's my container? Use classes. Basically, I want to select the direct child, right? So what I want to do is select direct div and set height to 100%. Let's try again. Is it because, no, that should be, I'm just thinking why it's not height. It might be because we don't have, we don't have height. So height, if I set height for the element, see that the problem here that I'm setting height 100%, but the parent doesn't have height. So basically it doesn't know how to calculate your height. So what you can do is set height 0. Let's try. And now you have your height, right? Because you have at least some number where they will calculate it. Flexbox is tricky. It just requires, again, practice. Okay, so for now, because it takes the full, the remaining height, this one should, let me just check. Yeah, right. So this one should be display flex, not for header. Where did they do? So it's not about this one. It's about this one. So because it's direct wrapper for my header and body, I need to set display flex for this one and flex direction column. And because it's just one, now we have the proper height. Now it looks better. So let's start creating this crazy stuff. All this crazy positioning. So I would say that we want to create these two blocks. So what I will do is I will use again pseudo elements for my image section. So where do we have image section? So for this one, I will create before, let's start with before. And I will do content again. And I will do this display block, almost block. And I will set, is it height? Almost 100%, kind of ish, 100-ish percent. Yeah, it's 100%. Looks like 100%. So height 100%. I also want to set top 0 and left 0. But remember, we want to have positioning it for that. So first of all, I also forgot about widths. So let's say 20%. And the background color. Background color will be this one. The only thing that I'm missing is position absolute, and that means that parent should be position relative. So let's try. Yep, looks fine. My image should be positioned a bit differently. Sorry. So that means that for my image, I want to set, again, I can do position doesn't matter for now, but it can be absolute. Absolute. And top 20%. Let's see. Yep. Maybe 10%. Let's check the design. Yep, it's aligned. So 10% is fine, I think. The next element will be for after. I'm just setting after. So it again, content, position, height. So here, height is different. Height is probably like, I don't know, 15. So let's have height 15%. But width should be, is it 60? It's probably something like 60. And right should be 0 and the color should be white, right? Let's try. Yeah, looks fine for me. The only issue is with image, right? We have the third section which we will add, but image should be on front of that. And that is why for our image, we will just set Z index to something like 10. So you will move your image closer to you. So now it is in front. Yep. I would say that I will shift my image just a little to left, like 2%, just a little for visual effect. Yeah, something like that. I think it's better. And we are missing the last bit, which is the last item, and I will add my pseudo element to my image, like after or before, it doesn't matter again. So we will have position absolute. Let me copy all of that, but that will be, let's check, that will be probably bottom minus 20%. Yeah, something like that. So bottom minus 20% and right minus 50, maybe minus 40%. And width should be, again, it's not wide, it's more tall, so it's like 20% or 30%, and height should be roughly, again, it's very random numbers. You just need to play with them. And let me add some background. Oh, we have background. Perfect. So let me find why we can't see the element. This one. Position absolute. Ah, right. Because my image is not no, it is. Interesting. So let me just think, where's my element? So we have bottom right, and let me check 0. Is it? No, it's not. Z index 20. Background color, position absolute, block height before. Let me just quickly check. Is it because this one is display block? No. This is really interesting. Where's our element? Can anyone see my element? Content position absolute. This one has position absolute, so that should be fine. Display height. Okay. Width. No. Pink. Interesting. What's going on? Where's my element? Display block. Display block. That's odd. Any ideas? What's going on here? Why we don't have our element? So I know how to fix it quickly, but I'm wondering why it doesn't work. Because it should. You just have, let's Google for that. For C element img, right? Why don't before and after pseudo element working on it? Specs. Oh, this comes from specs. Okay, so images doesn't support it. It don't work with images element. Set times. But quick fix for that is just to wrap your image into another div, like img wrapper, right? So then you put your image here. That means that you want to have image section, img wrapper, and here there should be position relative. So actually this one should be positioned like this, right? And for image, we want to have, we don't need to have display block. Here we want to have width 100%. And for this one, we want to have this element here. Let's see what we will get. Perfect, perfect. Almost. Let me check. So we have image, we have div, right? Oh, sorry, I forgot about index. Yeah, perfect. So now what we're missing is that this element for image now has own of before width bottom. Yeah, let's see. So now we just need to adjust numbers for image wrapper. So right -10, bottom, I think that's fine, something like that. Yep. We just need to change color and z-index. So let's see the color. I just want to inspect to get the right one. And we will change it to the right one. And positioning should be z-index. Let's say for the image, actually, we want to move our image to the front. So here, position relative, z-index, let's say 10. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so we have this section, right? Let's try actually, and it is kind of responsive, which is great. So for this section, we want to have content section, sorry. So that should be display flex as well. Yep. And we have flex direction column and align items, sorry, justify content center. Refresh. Yeah, we have it, which is great. So this one should be white, like everything should be white. So font, just color white for the whole section, right? And only thing that we want to style is line, which is in our span. So I will just write selector h3 span color should be, need to find the color, this one. Let's try. Yep. Now we just need to tweak the font size to M. Better. The other tweak that I want to do is here. Oh, I can remove for my P tag. I can remove margin 0, and see that the text is too close to each other. So to change that, you can use line height and set like 1.3 m. Let's refresh. A bit better, maybe 1.5, something like that. Yeah, something like that. The other thing, this huge circle, right, with dots. Again, it's just about playing with CSS. So here we have use cases. Let's go to use cases, to the very top where we started to style it. Use cases here. Is it use cases? Yeah, it is use cases. And I will create a before element. And as usual, content. Then I want to have display block. Then height should be 100%. Or maybe let's do just 70 VH, so relative. And width, again, perfect square, 70 VH, right? And here, so position, absolute. Absolute. So this one should be position relative, the parent. And now I want to set border 2 pixels dashed and color white. Let's see what we will have. We have a square, right? But we want to have a circle. So what we will do is just border radius to 50%, as you might guess. Refresh. Perfect. We just want to have it. Let's check what we want to have it. Yeah, we just want to move to the right. So right minus 10%, let's say. Something like that. Yep. Should be fine. Pretty easy again. You can actually fade out as well, opacity to 0.8, like 20% to make it slightly, or maybe 70% of the color, something like that. So you have this number, this circle. Yeah? Any questions on that? Might be bigger. Maybe slightly bigger. We can actually set to 80. Let me check if it's set to 80. Oh, right. Sorry. See that we actually now have a vertical scroll, which is wrong. This is because we have overflow, because that goes outside our parent. So we need to set overflow hidden. Refresh. We still have it. And this is because of this 8, huge 8. So what you can do to make it generic, you can set overflow hidden to the container, right? Our generic class. Yeah, I'll explain in a second. So here, main, is not container. Yeah, so for main, we also want to set overflow hidden. Refresh. Still have something. Let's check where it comes from. Yeah, this one. So for user, again, we want to have, for user cases, we want to have overflow hidden as well. Yeah, so now we don't have vertical scroll. So about spaces between dashes. So this is a default dashing for HTML. So you can't actually create, because sometimes we had, for example, this question from our designers on my previous job. So they came to us with that kind of spacing, and you can't do that with just CSS and like border dashed. It doesn't work like that, because this is a default spacing and you don't have any settings for that, for the spacing. So the only way to do that is actually have an image, which is, I would say, expensive to load on the website. So, and again, on my previous company, when we got the task like this with that kind of dashes, we just explained designers that it can't be like that, and we just implement it this way. Because yeah, it just this is how the default dashed works for border. Yeah. Sorry. So just like that. Another thing that I want to show you is this scrolling. So here we have links, right? It would be nice if you click, you will go to specific section. And let's do that. So to have an internal navigation within the page, all you need to have is navigate to IDs. So let's say home, ID home. So for this one, I will add ID home for my main section. For product, I will add ID product. And I will add this ID here. ID, that should be ID product. And the third one, user cases. And this is it here, ID, user cases, right? So now if I click, it jumps to this section, right? Straight away. It loads on the view. So it doesn't load the like on the very top for this section because we don't have anything below. But if I change just a min height for this section, so you will see, because if you have more content, you'll see it. But let me just find where the use cases here, 120, for example, like that. So it actually covers everything. So now if I click, it goes to the very beginning of this section, right? The only thing that I don't like is that it is jumping immediately. So what you can do, oh, sorry. I lost my mouse. Where it is? You can do smooth behavior. And you have properties like smooth. Sorry. So now we have auto. So when you click, it just jumps through different sections, right? But if you select scroll behavior to smooth, it actually scrolls. So you don't need, before that, we used JavaScript to have smooth scroll, but now you don't need it. Now you just adding smooth scroll. And now if you click, it's just scrolling smoothly. Just a very simple one line, because I remember like 3 years ago when I was building this functionality, it was so painful with JavaScript because you need to basically, just with JavaScript. But now CSS can do that. And the only thing that if you go to can I use, you can see that we have some issues in Safari and you have some issues with Internet Explorer. But it's not something that will break your page, right? So if the browser supports it, you will have a nice smooth functionality. If browser doesn't, you don't care because it will just jump immediately. So I think that you don't need to, nowadays, you don't need to implement JavaScript version of that, unless it's a critical feature, which is probably not. So for Chrome, it is working, and I think this is perfect. This is a perfect thing, because it's just one line of CSS. Okay, so, and you can actually see that our content is pretty responsive. Let me actually, one thing that I want to fix for user cases, because I changed this one to 80. Yeah, something like that. It is pretty responsive. You can tweak it. We can make, like, if you reach particular breakpoint, you can have, you can change this one to not column, this one. I just want to show you. Just set flex direction column, and then you can fix the height, etc. But you can play with that. You can make it responsive even more. But with Flexbox, you can see that it's still pretty responsive when you do with when you don't use pixels, but use like amps, and use percentages, viewport height or width, etc. So it is pretty responsive. And we haven't written any media queries yet, right? Yeah. So this is our page. I think that was actually good. That was pretty good. So you can see that we spent 2 hours, right? And I was explaining you, showing you stuff. But if you spend, I think, 2 more hours, you will be able to finish. Maybe not 2 hours, maybe 3, 4, maybe half a day. But you'll be able to finish this one. This is pretty much what we've done, right? Just different positioning, etc. And same here, and the footer. So you should be able to finish the page because we did pretty much the same for previous sections. So I strongly recommend you to do that. And if you're stuck on any point, you know that you can find us in Slack and ask how to do stuff. Yes, any questions? Okay, you're not seeing design in Figma. That's odd. Do you have a link, Lester? Lester? Do you have a link? Yeah, this is a wrong one. So let me just copy again. Here it is. And I will add it to our Git repository, right? To the one that I've created. This one. Let me just double check that I did everything we need. So git add git commit -m 3 sections and git push. Let's see. I want to make sure that we actually pushed everything. Yes. So we have our layout. We have our code in our repo. So feel free to pull it, clone it, and just finish the project. Next time we will have the dedicated lesson for Flexbox, and yeah, that should be fun as well. And yeah, so next Saturday I'll see if you don't have any other questions. See you next week. See ya.